Hi everyone, John Friedberg here with another episode of Stacking Chips, your strategy source for the 2007 World Series of Poker, the Bellagio Cup, and the dozens of other events going on right here in lovely Las Vegas. Yesterday was the $5,000 short-handed no-limit hold'em event, and I got off to a terrible start. You know, I keep getting in these situations where I'm getting my chips in with the best of it, and I mean the best of it. Yesterday I got all my chips in as a 90% favorite on the flop, and I had pocket nines against pocket eights, and the dude rivers an 8. And that just keeps happening to me in the World Series this year. It's very frustrating, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. But I'm going to talk a little bit about that hand because it was an interesting hand. We started the day with 10,000 in starting chips with 2550 blinds, and we were not long into it. We were probably about an hour. Actually, we were in the second hour of the tournament because the blinds were 50 and 100, and I had raised in, well, I guess I was in second position or something in a six-handed event. I raised to 300 with pocket nines on 50-100 blinds, and I had about 10,000 in chips. I was about even, and the button calls to 300, and he only has like 48 or 4,900 in chips. So he calls 300. Everyone else folds, and I'm heads up with the button. And so there's a very narrow range of hands that I can put him on here because, again, he was short. Well, he wasn't short stack, but he had lost half his stack already, and I knew he was maybe a little bit frustrated because he had just lost half his stack. But I think there was a pretty narrow range of hands that he could have been on here. Now, right away when he just calls my raise, I put him on a hand between any pocket pair up to pocket eights, and or maybe an ace 10 or a suited ace, and possibly like a king queen. But again, there's not too many hands he's going to just call that with there. Certainly if he has an ace king or an ace queen or even an ace jack, he's going to re-raise in a short-handed game. If he has pocket tens or better, he's going to re-raise. And so anyway, I had a pretty good idea of where I thought he was at. So the flop came, it came 2, 3, 6. Actually, it came 3, 4, 6. And so there's about 700 in the pot, 750 in the pot, my 3, his 3, and then the blinds for 150. So I put out a pretty big bet here. He only had like 4,000 or 4,500 in chips. I put out a big bet, a pot-sized bet. I bet about 600, thinking that if he had a king queen or an ace jack or an ace 10 or any suited ace, he's going to fold there. If he had pocket pair and he flopped a set, he's going to call. But if he had a pocket pair above the board, he's probably just going to move all in. Maybe raise, but I thought for sure he would just move all in. And my gut told me he had sixes, he had sevens or eights or something. So I thought it would be a good spot to make a pot-sized bet. Hoped that he had an overpair, because I knew if he had an overpair it would be smaller than nines, and try to trap him for his chips. So sure enough, I bet 600. He raises to 2,000. So that tells me right away he doesn't have a big ace. He didn't flop a set because he's not going to raise a set there on the flop. He doesn't want to scare me off the hand. So he has to either have pocket fives, which would give him an open-ended straight, or he had to have pocket sevens or pocket eights as far as the read that I put him on. Either way, I had pocket nines. I liked my chances. There was no flush draw out there. So immediately I reshove for forcing him to call off the rest of his chips, which he does. I turn over pocket nines and he says, "Shit, you got me crushed." And sure enough, he turns over pocket eights. And king on the turn, 8 on the river. So I lose about half my stack there, and then I blinded off a little bit, down to about 3,000 or so. And then my last hand of the tournament, I had made a raise with pocket queens, and ace king pushed all in. I called off my last 3,000 or 3,500 or whatever it was. And of course he flopped an ace to knock me out of that tournament. So no luck in yesterday's event. I lost most of my chips to a 2-outer again, and then lost a race for the last 3,000 of my stack. But today is the $2,000 no limit hold'em event, and tomorrow is a $1,500 no limit hold'em event. So hopefully I will do well in at least one of these two. We only have, I think I have maybe 4 more events now before the main event, and the World Series is over with for me. So hopefully I'll have another big score here to close out the World Series before the main event anyway. And of course I'm looking forward to doing well in the main event this year, which I have yet to cash in the last 3 years of the main event. So hopefully this year is my year. All right, well, I'm going to bring my guest on the show now. He is a very, very well-known online player. He's one of the best out there, and I think he probably has the most success. He's had the most success in the very deep stack, not the deep stack, the huge field tournaments of any of the online players that I know. His biggest accomplishment, as I understand it, is final tabling the PokerStars Sunday Million tournament. It was either back-to-back or it was in 2 out of 3 consecutive weeks. And those are massive fields with 8,000 plus players in them. So he's got a great track record in these deep fields, which I think plays well in the World Series this year. He's actually having a decent World Series this year. Let's bring him on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh PB Drunks Van Duyn. Josh, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, John.
Glad to have you here. Especially, you said you had a long night last night, went out for some good steaks, a couple bottles of wine, played some poker, a little blackjack.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate you waking up this morning and coming in here.
Just another night in Vegas, right?
So we got the $2,000 No Limit Hold'em event today. It's event number 45?
God, I don't even know.
45 or 47. And yeah, how's the World Series treating you so far?
It's been all right. I've actually been running pretty bad. I've had a few cashes, a couple 16ths, which were really frustrating. I mean, I'm actually up a little, which is, you know, more than I can say for a lot of my friends. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's been a grind, man.
It really seems like once you get down to the the final 2 tables in any tournament, you can finally see the light. And yeah, I can imagine it's got to be frustrating having 2 16th place finishes, but you've got to be profitable overall, I would think.
Yeah, it's been all right. I don't know. It's been really frustrating though. Like, I haven't got like that break, that key pot to get over the hump to make me, carry me to the final table. But oh well,
right.
There's more events.
Well, you have a great reputation. You've had a ton of success in the online world. You're one of the best online players in the world, and I think your biggest accomplishment that I know of anyway is final tabling 2 either back-to-back or 2 out of 3 PokerStars Sunday Million tournaments, where each of them must have had like 8,000 to 10,000 players.
Yeah, the first one had like 8,000, the other had like 10,000, just over 10,000.
So those are huge fields. You final tabled that thing like twice in, was it twice in a row or twice in 3 weeks?
2 out of 3 weeks. Yeah, and then finished 9th and 8th. Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, that's a little frustrating. But
worst.
So, what's your strategy? I mean, those online fields are so enormous,
yeah,
which are almost similar to what a lot of these World Series fields are like.
Right.
What's your strategy in these large turnouts?
As far as like the big events, I think there's so many. I think I can say donkeys, right?
Oh yeah.
There's so many donkeys to play. I mean, there's so much money out there. So many like pots you can win off the morons. And like when I get to a hard table, I'll just kind of pick and choose, play pretty tight. Other than that, just see a lot of flops with all the bad players.
Yeah. So do you have you have a reputation. You were telling me that you have a reputation for being pretty crazy, yet you consider yourself to be sort of tame on the tables. So.
I am. I've played pretty tight when it comes down to it. Tight aggressive, I guess. And I think the name PB Drunks, it just sounds crazy, so everyone thinks I'm a nut.
Well, PB Drunks, you were telling me, stands for Pacific Beach, which is a nice area of San Diego.
Yes.
And Drunks stands for what?
I have no idea. Let you figure that one out.
We'll let you guys fill in the blanks on that one. But anyway, so you live in San Diego. You live down in PB, which is an awesome town. It's a party town.
Yeah.
I used to live close to there myself after college and loved it. But you're an online player, full-time online player. So I imagine you must have a life outside of poker.
Yeah, there's so much to do down there. We go to the beach, play horseshoes. There's so many bars to to visit. When I first started playing poker, that's all I did was play poker, get a bankroll going, and then I could do the things that I wanted to do, play more selectively.
Well, do you feel that having a life outside of poker, like living on the beach, is beneficial to your poker game? Do you feel like it's important to sort of maintain a social life outside of grinding it online every day?
Absolutely. If you just play poker every day, all day, you're going to go crazy, I think. So, yeah, I definitely I don't play as much poker as I used to, like I said, and I think it's a good thing, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you find that your results are better overall?
Absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah,
I think you can play too much poker for sure.
I agree with that completely. So we have the main event coming up in just over, like a week or 10 days or something.
Yeah.
You looking forward to that?
Can't wait. We start with 20,000 chips this year, I think it
I
is.
assume it's 20,000 chips, but I'm still trying to figure out if we start out with 25-50 blinds or 50-100. I haven't looked at a structure sheet, but if everything is doubled from last year, which so far everything has, then
Yeah.
it's going to be 20K chips
50-100.
with 50-100 blinds. But that's, hopefully they'll keep it at 25-50 blinds.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
How many other events are you going to be playing until then?
Playing the 2000 today, and if I happen to, get busted out, which I probably will, I'll play the 1500. I think it's tomorrow. Is there 1500?
Yep, 1500 tomorrow.
And then I'm gonna see if I get in the 10,000 pot limit tomorrow.
You going to try to qualify into that?
I have a couple backers, so
Okay.
Maybe they'll hook me up. But then I guess just have some fun on, like, I think pot limit was before July 4th. I think. You know, remember?
Yeah, it is. It's I think it's Tuesday. Let's see, what's today? Today's Friday. It's actually Sunday. The 10K PLO is Sunday.
Okay, and then just like play that one, and then just kind of have fun July 4th, and just wait till the main event.
Yeah. Well, I think there'll be a lot of parties going on before. We have a couple of days off before the main event starts, and I personally am going to start the main event. Certainly not on the first day, so I can have a day or two to recover from the 4th of July and the couple of days off. I would imagine all the sites are going to be having parties this year. I haven't gotten too many invites yet, so I'll be expecting those soon, guys. Well, let's see. So what advice do you have for all these players that are coming out for the main event who have limited or no experience in playing live poker? Like, what would you tell the average Joe who won a seat online and is actually going to take the $10,000 that they pay him and buy into the tournament? What advice would you give?
I think the biggest advice for live tournaments is patience. I think it's 2-hour rounds for the main event, so I mean you can sit back and you can really pick your spots really well. Try not to play too many hands out of position for like the average player. You just play really tight, and you can wait for premiums, and that's probably the only advice.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. There's so many donkeys in these events that and they feel that they have these big stacks, when in reality the stacks are not that big.
Right.
And you're going to be surprised to see how many people go out in the first 10 minutes, the first hour, because people are just pounding their draws and against people that flop sets.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people can't lay down top pair ever.
Right.
And then
And then you have the morons who don't understand betting in proportion to the pot. So there'll be a $600 pot and they'll bet 4,000 at it. Not understanding.
Protecting their hand.
Right. Anyway. All right. Well, Josh, I know you're in a hurry to get back to Rio today. We're running a little bit late because we had some theft on the set here. Somebody stole a light or something. So we're going to do some ass kicking when we find out who took it. Lizzie Harrison, if that was you. Rich Belsky, you guys are in deep shit. Anyway. Well, Josh, thanks for coming on the show, man. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Stacking Chips. Make sure to tune in tomorrow and every day throughout the World Series for more strategy talk, discussions, interviews, and more right here on Card Player TV. And keep those emails coming in to stackingchips@cardplayer.com. From John Poker Trip Friedberg,
Joshua PB Drunks Van Duyn.
we're out of here. Good luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.